Welcome to our live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos. I wasn't sure. Am I wrong or are you wrong?
No, I was wrong because I was moving things around.
Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like product
Reviews and recipe videos.
All of those things. And you can find those on our website, which is twocrazyketos.com. You can also find us on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little subscribe button and ring the bell button, because clearly you don't want to miss when I attempt to do Joe's job and he attempts to do mine. It just doesn't work, right?
It's been an interesting day because they decided like on a day that we have to do like 3 different live events.
Oh, I see. We're already buffering. Okay, there you go. Awesome.
We should be okay. We're on Starlink.
We need prayer, y'all.
They decided to dig up all the internet in the neighborhood.
Today.
The day we have to do 3 live events.
Just today.
Because you did your Mighty Networks Meatheads
We had a Meatheads group, and then we have this.
And then we have...
And then actually I'm going to be on Indigo Neely's channel immediately following this. And then we have RV Unplugged tonight.
Yeah.
Pre-show
Speaking
and post-show
of RV Unplugged, make sure you join for the pre-show and the post-show. They're going to be pulling people who are in the chat on live to win stuff, including a mattress from one of our sponsors, BrooklynBedding.com.
Don't miss that, because
you have to be live in the chat. And they're going to just literally like invite people on.
Yeah.
And give stuff away.
I want you guys to win. I'm sorry. I am biased. I want the Two Crazy Ketos family to win.
I mean, listen, we're a little biased. I mean, yes, Brooklyn Bedding and RVmattress.com sponsor both of our channels, but that's only because we love their mattress.
That's because we love that bed.
I mean, we have 2 of them.
Yes.
We had one in our old RV, and then we bought the new RV. We liked it so much, we're like, can you ship one to the Alliance factory?
Yes. Because if you are like us and weighed more than 300 pounds, your body created a divot in your bed over time.
Especially when the mattress wasn't originally ours.
And it's like I had to, for like the first couple of years on keto, live in the hole that my previous life created.
Yep.
So I was glad to get a new bed, fresh start, and sleep better.
So we're not here to talk about mattresses.
No, we're not.
Or RV Unplugged.
No, we're not. We're here to talk about something infinitely more divisive sometimes.
So in the last couple weeks, we've talked about meat.
Yes.
And protein.
Uh-huh.
We've talked about what you can do with ground beef.
Right.
We've talked about the fact that you shouldn't be looking to get most of your protein sources from things like Quest cookies.
They're fortified.
Or even protein powders.
Right.
Like, you know, and even, I don't think she's in here now. Maybe she is. But I know Miriam was in here earlier. And Chris and Miriam, the owners of Keto Chow, will tell you the majority of your protein should not be coming from Keto Chow.
Right.
That it should be coming from meat. So we've talked about that. We've talked about vegetables.
We're hitting all of the buttons.
Today we're going to talk about fruit. And why are we doing this live? Because I don't want to edit it.
How dare us talk about this thing live, right? So
you've got notes.
I do have notes because sometimes we can go down a rabbit trail, and we're going to try to avoid that.
Well, so I'm going to have to get on a live stream with Neely. So we have to end by 12:45.
I'm going to bring up some things that we can talk about. Please help us in the chat to discuss these things.
Do you like fruit? Let us know in the chat.
Let us know. So why is fruit so problematic? Ask Eve, right? Like, she's the first one that had to deal with like a fruit issue.
Stop leaning into the microphone.
Okay, so why is fruit so appealing? And I have a couple of theories.
It's delicious.
It is delicious. It is naturally sweet.
It's full of sugar.
What is it called? I think Dr. Hampton said it's nature's candy, right? So it's prevalent.
Yep.
It's not hard to find. It comes in vibrant colors. We don't just eat with our mouth.
No.
We eat with our eyes.
Right.
So like, what is your favorite color?
Blue, green.
So there's something that you can find, like a papaya or something, or blueberries that have a color you like.
Right.
All right. The other thing is texture, which we talk a lot about on keto. People a lot of times complain.
I'm a texture person.
About
That's why
texture.
I don't like guacamole.
people will say that when it comes to meat, sometimes that it's a one-note wonder.
Right.
But not so with fruit.
Right. Because some of them are soft, some of them are hard.
Everyone is different.
Chewy.
There's also an aromatic element to that.
That's true.
Right? They smell. Like we all had a strawberry shortcake doll, right? You did too, obviously, right? No? I used to love smelling her face.
I remember when you were like, I want a strawberry shortcake doll, so I bought it for you.
Yes.
And then you aptly were like, now return it because it was like $40.
Well, I didn't realize that sometimes you can't go home. You go and revisit those things that were like from your childhood, and you're going to pay way more than like the $10 that you would pay when you were a kid for it. There's cultural significance to fruit. There are some people, and my family included, bananas were a part of our heritage because grandma made banana cream pie or banana pudding.
Right.
So there is some people who celebrate different holidays with fruit. That makes it hard to step away from because for some people, it becomes like, am I stepping away from my culture?
Right.
When I'm not
well,
engaged
it's funny
fruit?
you mentioned that because I was just editing Jonathan Shane's video from the Low Carb Cruise, which
will aggravate even more people.
Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's going to go up tomorrow. Okay. But one of the things he talks about in there is if I tell you you can have a food,
right,
a carbohydrate, a fruit.
Like you were having a cheat day.
The first one that comes to your mind because like grandma made apple pie, you can't ever have that.
That is the one thing.
You should never eat foods that would trigger either happy or sad memories.
Well, and
which I thought was very interesting because we were talking on the cruise about corned beef hash.
Right.
Okay. So I used to love corned beef hash, and I was one of the weird ones that liked the canned corned beef hash, even though it smells like dog food when you take it out.
Yes,
and it looks like dog food too.
It does.
But it tastes delicious, especially when
you
would brown it up. Hey, Gourmet agreed with me. If you would put it on a skillet and get that crust on it.
Okay.
And I said to him, even if it didn't have potatoes, I couldn't eat it. Or even if I was willing to have a few potatoes, I would not eat it because that was something my dad and I made every weekend.
It has nothing
and he was like,
to
exactly.
do with
He's like,
the
because
taste.
it brings back a happy memory, you should never have that, even if you were going to allow yourself some potatoes, because it will trigger you.
Well, I think a lot of people could be more successful on like their birthday, their anniversary, if they had that thought in mind. The first thing that comes to your mind, if I was just off the rails, this is what I'd eat. That thing, toss it out because you've already made that association. I would be off the rails.
I saw Angie say
if
we're
I
frozen.
do this.
I'm watching a live feed up there and we're not frozen on my screen.
Hopefully,
try refreshing your computer.
Hopefully we're not. Okay, the other thing is convenience because fruit often comes with a natural wrapper. It's portable. It's very portable, right? A lot of times in keto, we talk about how things are not portable. We're looking for a keto bread. We're looking for a keto wrap because of the fact that we want to take things on the go. But you could throw a whole bunch of apples, grapes, or something into a cooler, go to the beach. I don't even really necessarily need a plastic bag because it's containing itself. A banana contains itself.
Now, I do want to say we're going to get to the chat, so just you can keep chatting. I'm going to try to watch it while Rachel's kind of talking to kind of set this up, and then we'll come back and hit the chat. And I'm saving the ones that kind of spark my eye.
Okay, so basically, all of these things contribute to fruit being something that we crave and like and enjoy. So if you're thinking, I want to get to a level of adulting, a level of keto, where I don't notice a strawberry or I don't notice a banana when I'm in the grocery store, like, you're not broken. You're not broken because you notice these things. You're not broken. There's a lot of it. It's not if it's smell and it's taste and it's texture and it's memories and it's culture and it's all of these things. It's right and reasonable for us to want to reach for a piece of fruit. That is not a symbol of you're less than a person because you want that. Now, how do you handle it? That's what our discussion is today. What do you do if you're keto when it comes to fruit? one group may decide, you know what, I abstain. Kind of like I'm going to handle fruit the way Rachel handles pasta. She just don't have any. I just don't have a baked potato. I just don't eat regular bread. I don't eat like sourdough bread. I don't eat like any traditional wheat-made bread because I just don't need it. I don't feel like it contributes anything to my nutrition or my life. It's only a problem. And so I just abstain from it completely. That's one way to handle it.
So I did see, where is it? Someone had actually said, so Paul said there's no nutrients. Let me see if I can put that up here.
I think you erased it.
Oh, okay. So Paul had said there's no nutrients in fruit that he can't get from
There you
meat,
go.
which is true. I mean, okay, so one of the only vitamins and nutrients that you really can't get from meat would be vitamin C, but our body can actually work with whatever vitamin C you can get in meat, so it actually becomes more bioavailable than even getting it from eating oranges or something like that, which is why carnivores don't get scurvy.
Right.
Okay, however, devil's advocate, there is an advantage to fruit. There is a reason that no society, no civilization known to man has ever, nor ever will, exist as a pure carnivore, never touching a fruit, berry, or vegetable.
Okay.
And that is, fruits give you quick energy.
All right.
Okay? They will give you quick energy because of the fructose. So if you go back ancestrally, and again, I don't like to spark the debate of how old the earth is and like cavemen didn't exist. So when I say ancestrally, I'm going to go pre-industrial revolution. Go to the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, before we had trains, things like that. Little House on the Prairie times even, okay? American Indians, they would go out, their primary food was meat.
Of course.
They would hunt for buffalo.
But sometimes
right?
you don't get a buffalo.
Inuits, that Eskimos, they eat fish. They hunt for their meat. That is their primary source of nutrition. But they would go through, as they're looking for meat, as they're hunting, they would come across berries and fruits, and they would eat them. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they were delicious, but also the sugar that is in that fruit would give them the energy so that they continued their hunt. And one of the things that we need to be aware of with fruit is fruit contains fructose, which is a sugar, but it is different than the white sugar that we would buy in the store.
Right.
But that fructose does something interesting. Going back ancestrally, fructose actually triggers our body to forage.
Yeah.
To do what? Forage. Look for more food. So they were using that for the energy, which would give them the energy to go forage for more food, whether it be berries or vegetables or roots or animals. But what we do is we get the same desire to forage because it's triggering something in our brain to go forage, only we don't have to go hunting. We don't have to expend the energy to go find more food. We walk 10 steps to the refrigerator.
So it's interesting. So if I'm somebody that is coming to keto for weight loss, I don't want to trigger that. Like that is something that I want to keep that at bay. But as you're speaking, something that came up a lot on the low carb cruise was the struggle for some people's senior friends and family members to try to help them trigger an appetite. They're having trouble eating at all. Could you possibly, with that thought in mind, give somebody a couple of berries and see if that doesn't stoke their appetite to eat a little bit more? If you were in that situation.
But again, it doesn't spark your appetite.
You want to go looking for appetite.
It sparks your desire to go look for more food, to forage for food.
Okay.
And so I guess you can say that's an appetite thing, but you're going to forage for food whether you're hungry or not because it's triggering your body to forage.
So what added to this conversation...
And again, fruit also, because it's quick energy, it goes away quickly, which means now you want to eat more, which is why you're foraging. And it's not satiating.
Right.
which
No.
is why
You could eat a lot of it.
we can eat a lot of it.
So in talking about this, because we're not somebody that consumes a lot of fruit. We just don't. But we say all of the time, we encourage people to do an N=1 experiment, right? Everybody is an individual. And I had to stop for a minute. I was actually chatting back and forth with Donna Joe from our group. And I said to her, you know what? If there really are 69,500 different N=1 experiments going on under the Two Crazy Ketos umbrella, we cannot act as if every single person has decided to abstain.
Perfect example. Okay. So we have our granddaughter.
Yeah.
She eats fruit. She can eat fruit.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't screwed up her metabolism.
Well, I mean,
like
it's
the rest of
locally
us.
grown. We're going to pick it.
Okay. Our daughter-in-law, Michelle,
Yeah.
who's being coached by, coaches within the community,
Yeah.
eats fruit. But she's not metabolically screwed up like the rest of us. She's 31 years old and she
Not
is a
recovering
CrossFit trainer.
From my experience.
But she falls under the Two Crazy Ketos umbrella because she is eating a ketogenic carnivore diet.
I think that it is important that we as a community stay approachable. That we are not so much like, as soon as someone says fruit, if I am triggered to anger, then there's something wrong if I'm not willing to even talk about it, right? So this message is really for people who are even thinking that maybe in their life they shall eat a piece of fruit again. If you're like, you know what, I'm never, ever. We completely understand if you're like, I'm tapping out of this live stream. I don't want to hear anymore because I'm just never going to eat it again. So I don't need to hear about this. So that's completely understandable.
It isn't. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. It's understandable if you don't want to eat fruit, but
you may want to talk to somebody else that does.
Don't condemn people who do because
Right.
you don't know where they are in their N=1 experiment.
Right.
Okay, so like I am not a big fruit person because I know that I'm going to overindulge. One of the things that we always talk about is if you are going to eat fruit, no matter what kind of fruit it is, first of all, do not eat fruit if you're trying to lose weight.
Now, wait a second. We're going to get into that.
Wait.
I have it a step by step.
Well, I don't have your notes.
I know.
Let me finish then, okay?
Okay.
But so yeah, don't eat fruit if you're trying to lose weight. But my thing is they may be in a different place, so don't condemn them for that.
Okay.
If they choose to have some fruit.
Good job. You did not step on my notes. We're going to move forward though, because this is now we're talking to people. I'm thinking that maybe I want to incorporate fruit. Or if you stayed here even though you're not going to eat fruit and you're like, I want to be able to talk to people
Especially
about
after you watch Jonathan's video.
I want to talk to people about it. What is our recommendation? We're not doctors. We're not nurses. We're not health professionals. But you're here. What's our 2 cents when it comes to fruit and how to approach it?
The first thing I'm going to say is if you are going to eat fruit, and I don't care what kind of fruit, whether it be an apple, a mango, an orange, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, you name it. The low carb fruits as well as the high sugar fruits. You should only be consuming fruit that is locally grown in season. Okay,
so that for me, that was actually number
I'm not privy to your notes.
7. So number 7 is buy fruit that is locally grown and in season. Now,
and I'm going to be graceful. I'm going to give a lot of grace and say locally grown is within 300 to 400 miles.
This is about to blow your mind.
And not from another country.
Because you're not privy to my notes, what would you say is the quintessential beverage of summer? What would you say that? Lemonade, okay? Lemonade is associated with summer, but did you know that both lemons and Meyer lemons...
We're in Florida. I know when lemons are in season.
But lemons are actually winter months.
That's right.
They are actually November through April. And then depending on where you live, if you're in Alabama, if you're watching us from Alabama, orange season for you is mid-October till mid-December.
Right.
Right?
For us, it's like January.
It is January to June, and then it picks up again in September to December. So if you are living in South Florida like us, you may still be able to get a locally grown orange right now, but we're at the
Not
tail
many.
end.
Not
Any.
many.
Not many.
Most of the oranges they're going to be out of season by March. You're going to get the dregs that don't taste good.
Exactly. So that's a very important point. We have not been eating authentic to what is locally grown and in season. Ancestrally. We have not been eating that.
In other words, an American Indian wouldn't have been walking through the plains
making
in
lemonade
Montana
for themselves
in August and eating an orange.
So you don't have to think of yourself as, hey, if I go to the family barbecue this summer and for the first time, maybe it's your first summer of keto, not like a summer of George on Seinfeld, but a summer of keto, and you're like, I'm going to miss out on that. You can actually encourage yourself in the fact that you're eating more ancestrally now than ever, because you wouldn't have been drinking lemonade in the middle of July if you were living 100 years ago.
Can we do the chat a little bit?
Go for it.
Okay. First of all, I have to show this because D. King agrees with me that it is delicious. I agree with the hash. I don't have it now, but I do have fond memories.
See, you're not alone.
And Bobby said, my husband eats canned corned beef hash, and I always thought it smells like dog food. Thanks for the validation. And
yes.
Again, I liked it. Okay.
So true.
John said, I know this is random. I've been waiting wanting to make some cured egg yolks forever, but the best method to cure them involves sugar. I just saw a video that successfully cured them for a week in MSG.
We do them with salt.
So if you want to cure egg yolks, this is a really cool thing.
It is cool.
You're going to take your egg yolk, put some salt, get some Red Bin real salt, put it on a plate. Put your egg yolk in there, and then cover that with more salt and put it in the refrigerator for about 5 to 7 days. It's going to come out cured. You can use it. And here's the best part is, especially if you're trying to eliminate like cheese and dairy from you, maybe you want like some shaved cheese on like a salad or something. You can shave it and it kind of gives you that cheesy.
It's got a cheesy taste to it. It really does.
So you can use salt. People use sugar because obviously it's sweet, but what happens is the sugar pulls the moisture out. Salt will do the same thing. And so will MSG, and you don't need to use MSG. Just use salt. Ira said most fruit has been GMO'd a tiny bit, will give you all the essential nutrients needed. Well, the problem is number one, we're growing on minerally depleted lands. So you don't get the nutrients in fruit that we used to. But you're right. It's not even that they're GMO'd. They've been cross-pollinated. They've been hybridized. So it was on, I don't remember who it was on the low-carb
Probably
cruise.
Maria, I think.
Yes, it was Maria.
Showing the difference
between what is a wild strawberry and what does a strawberry look like in Costco. And like, I grow wild strawberries in our garden thing. They're about that
They're tiny.
big, right? Same thing with apples. Like an apple when I grew up was about that big. We were just in Whole Foods making an Amazon return, and I don't remember what the apple was.
It was a baseball.
And it was like this big.
Yes.
Right? And so it's all been hybridized to be bigger and sweeter. So it is not the fruit that even our grandparents grew up with.
Not at all.
The fruit is very, very different now. Paul said, sure, this is answering the main question, can you eat fruit on keto? And he had said, sure, you can eat rock candy too. But it doesn't mean it's good.
Absolutely.
Bobby said, I'm not hardcore about fruit lately. We grow rhubarb, apples, and raspberries on our place. I eat a bit of each when they're ripe in season. If you're going to eat fruit, that is the way to do it. And the other one I saw is Deb said,
Deb.
I like fruit, but I barely eat it. Why? Watermelon spiked my blood sugar higher than anything I've ingested since wearing a CGM, except for a margarita on the rocks. We're going to show you why in a minute.
Right. Okay. So moving forward, what are our recommendations when dealing with fruit? Number one, only count total carbs. Yes,
That's a
know
must.
this is like, God made it, blah, blah, blah. There is fiber.
And that's one of the fibers that we normally would tell you
blah, blah, blah.
take out.
However, count total carbs. Just absolutely do it. Fruit is delicious. It is sweet, and you are more likely to eat more fruit. Everybody, whether you're keto or not, you're more apt to eat more fruit than you would eat vegetables. So I would say be super cautious. You're not going to be upset with yourself if you ingest less carbohydrates than you thought you were, right? Like that's a good
and
protocol.
Again, the biggest reason you want to count total carbs is so you don't overindulge.
Right. My next recommendation is weigh fruit. I don't talk about tracking every little bit of things, but weigh your fruit.
We're going to show that in a minute too.
Do not play small, medium, or large on Chronometer. And here's why. Because Rachel is going to go to Costco and I'm going to buy a Costco-sized banana and I'm going to come back and I'm going to put it into my Chronometer as like a small banana. That's
now, not everybody is going to do that, but
we know. We know.
We kind of have to get to the other part. But
yeah.
The thing is that you don't know when you look at, like, okay, this is a small. Well, what if it's
is a
dry?
small?
You have to weigh
Even
your
if
fruit.
you look into Chronometer, you will see that a small
10 grams could mean a huge difference.
A small banana, like it has a weight accompanying it, right? And so you need to weigh it because does your small banana do it? You don't want to eye that thing. We are going to leave a link in this video. Hopefully you've already put it in there for a kitchen scale so that you can
because
use
the
that.
internet was down, so I'll have to put it afterwards.
We're going to put an Amazon link to a kitchen scale. They're very inexpensive. This is where you would utilize a kitchen scale. I also made a chart that I'm going to post in Mighty Networks with some of the most familiar fruit and like how many total carbs are in each of those fruit. Now, I leveled the playing field by having every single one of those 100 grams across the board.
Can we get to that?
Yeah, because I don't want people to look and say like, well, an apple has this much and a banana has this much, so I'm just going to choose this based on a small banana because it's clearly apples to oranges, right? So what does 100 grams look like across the board? Do you have that in here to share?
So now, we did 100 grams because if you go to Europe and you buy stuff like in a package, everything is 100 grams. Like there is none of this, like there's 1.5 servings. The serving size is 100 grams or it's the package.
Yeah.
Right? That's how they work it. So this is 100 grams of watermelon.
This is in the smallest little like demi-tasse, like espresso cup. Like this is tiny. I can't tell, like, have you ever only consumed this much watermelon in your life?
You ready?
Yes.
So that there is,
dun 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 dun.
If you look at this chart, we made this chart. Oh, I got to turn us off.
You're supposed to turn me on, Joe, not turn me off. Can you move him to another spot?
No, it won't let me. But I know what. No, I can do this. I can
tell you.
I can do this. Look here.
There you go.
That 100 grams of watermelon, that little bit of watermelon is 7.5 carbs.
This is 7.5 total carbs. And what is more problematic
Who's only eating that much?
Is the fact that I don't purchase it from the store this way. I don't purchase this little amount. They're not selling me a watermelon this amount. It's going to come with a big giant watermelon, and I am going to consume more than this amount, probably.
Right.
Most likely.
Because it's all watermelon is water and sugar.
Yeah.
There's no nutritional benefit to watermelon
and this may
at
not
all.
satiate me.
Now, I'm going to throw Rachel into the bus.
Here we go.
Pre-keto.
Let me look. What's that engine look like under the bus?
Why were we fat? Because we were told fruit is really healthy for you. Eat a bunch of fruit. You want to lose weight? Eat fruit and vegetables. Don't eat meat. Right?
I would juice an entire watermelon. Is that what you're sharing?
Watermelons are in season.
Yes.
For a long time in Florida.
Yeah.
Right? And by the way, an actual watermelon should be about this big and full of seeds to the point that you won't want to eat it.
Right. Remember spitting those out when you were little?
They've been hybridized to be bigger, sweeter, and have no seeds.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, Debbie's right. Even the pre-cut watermelon comes in a much larger container than this.
So when watermelons would come in season, because we didn't buy them off season, not because we were trying to be healthy, but because they're too expensive when they're off season. Rachel would go to the guy that's selling them on the side of the road from his backyard.
Because they taste the most delicious.
And buy several watermelons.
Because they're cheap.
come home, because they were like 2 for $5.
I mean, you can buy one in Walmart. It's like $4.
She would come home, cut one up for the kids, and take another one. The entire watermelon. We're talking about a watermelon this big. Cut it up, throw it in the Vitamix, and juice the entire watermelon and drink it all in the same day.
I have regrets. But, I know we often say no regrets.
But you were doing that. I remember you saying that, going, this is better than eating meat and sugar.
I was incorrect. And my body paid for it.
It's not to be mean to you, but it's like, because one of the worst things you can do if you are going to consume fruit is juicing.
Which is what a lot of people do.
Right? It's like 5 oranges. Can you eat 5 oranges in a sitting? But you can have 5 oranges in 1 glass of orange juice.
It is the perfect way that I do not need to face what I'm actually consuming, right? Because I take a whole ton of stuff and I make it into a glass, right?
Yep. Ready?
Yeah. That's 68 grams because they were out of strawberries.
That's 68 grams of strawberries.
That's 68 grams.
Which technically is large. Now, when I say 100, we're doing 100 grams. That's not even a serving. But this is a good idea. Like, if you ate 100 grams of carbs, what are you getting?
Yeah.
So
100 grams of fruit, what would you get carbs-wise?
So this is 68 grams. But if you ate 100 grams of strawberries,
probably
7.7. So this is probably about 6 grams of carbs.
Right.
In
2 strawberries.
2 strawberries.
Now, if you're like, hey, this is what I want, that's fine. But it's good to have eyes on it. And I think
you want to keep going through the fruit.
It's important.
Yeah. I got more.
So while you're getting one, since you talked about watermelon, the next thing that I want you to keep in mind is you need to prepare yourself for your portions to be way smaller than they used to be.
Doesn't even look appetizing.
This is pineapple. This is 100 grams of pineapple.
So when we first started using, oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of the drink right now? What is that drink that we like to drink?
Why would I know this?
The one that lowers your glucose.
Oh, good idea.
We ran out.
Good idea.
So when we started drinking Good Idea, one of the things that Good Idea
would be a good idea to reorder.
That it lowers your glucose. So we were doing testing. You consumed half of that.
Half of this.
Right? You consumed half of it, and you shot your glucose over 100 points.
Yes.
And I remember somebody when we mentioned that once, somebody said, that means that you're not metabolically healthy. No, that's what pineapple does. Not metabolically healthy would it be staying up there and not coming back down.
Yeah, it immediately
did come back down within an hour. But that little cup of pineapple is 13 carbs.
Right.
Now, we have a freeze dryer. We have a Harvest Right freeze dryer. We have a link for one down below. They're actually I've almost bought one for my mom. They're having like refurbished ones on sale, like almost $1,000 off.
Wow.
That would be the equivalent in freeze dried.
So
because when you freeze dry, you lose 90 to 95% of the weight.
Right.
So if you want to eat a freeze dried fruit, you're looking at about 7 to 10 grams is equal to 100. So this little bit here, that's 13 carbs.
Okay, so since you brought that up, put our chart back up, because yes, that's another thought. Notice that dried fruit is way higher in total carbs than raw fruit. For instance, 100 grams of fresh plum, you'll see plum over there, is 11.4 total carbs, but 100 grams of prunes, which is what a dried plum is, 63.9 total carbs. And the same goes for something like a banana. So 100 grams of raw banana is going to be 22.8 carbs. But if you go to, like, say, Trader Joe and you picked up their, like, just plain old dried bananas in a bag because you're thinking, you know what? It would be better for me to have dried fruit instead of raw in the house because it's not just going to go bad and I can just eat it. But actually, 100 grams of dried banana is going to be 95 total carbs. So dried fruit and raw fruit are not interchangeable.
No. Well, and here's a good one. So that's 100 grams of raspberries, okay? And 100 grams of raspberries is 11.9, so 12 carbs. This is 10 grams of freeze-dried raspberries. It's the same.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's the same. So you can have this or you can have this because this has got no water in it at all. The only other one I really wanted to show right now was blueberries. That's 100 grams of blueberries.
Now, this is like, we always point to this as like the keto fruit. Have berries, enjoy berries, but
And
this
that
is 100 grams.
How many?
And
That is 10 carbs.
What? No.
No, 14.5 carbs.
So blackberries and blueberries are different as far as their total carb count, right?
So that's 15 carbs in that little bit of
in
blueberries.
this amount of blueberries, not in a basket of blueberries, right? Just because they're keto. So again, to go back, you need to prepare yourself that you're going to eat less fruit. The serving is going to look different after you go keto.
Right.
Because
I gotta go get something.
Because, like, let's say you're like, okay, cool. I could still have watermelon on keto because I'm comfortable with that carb count, and I am just going to eye a slice of watermelon. But the truth is, this is 100 grams of watermelons, and the average slice of watermelon that a person, when they're just eyeing it, that they cut for themselves, guess how many grams is in an average eyeing it slice of watermelon?
How many carbs?
No. What size? So 100 grams.
300.
You're very
Without
close.
the rind.
Very close. 286. So that's going to be 21.6 total carbs. So again, don't eye these things. This is the one thing. Fruit is going to be one of those things that I'm going to say you need to weigh it so that you can handle
so you
it
don't overconsume it
properly.
Especially because, like, again, if you go back to large versus small,
Yeah.
which one are you choosing?
Right. Obviously, if I'm going to get like, and this is anything, this was cookies, this is like, anything, I want the bigger one, and I'm going to count like these are the same, right? I'm absolutely going to do that. So
I want to get to the chat.
What is another recommendation I would have? You see that you have much less than you used to eat. My advice is combine this with something like the yogurt that we make. Combine it with some like nuts, put it into a keto chow creamy, because that way you're still getting the flavor and taste of the fruit, but it doesn't make you so sad. This makes you feel deprived. If I use this as part of a parfait, like let's say I use our yogurt and then and top it with some sugar-free whipped cream, and I've got some of these strawberries diced up inside of that, that feels a lot more like I am enjoying fruit and not that I'm not getting to have as much fun as everybody else with fruit.
Right. So let's get into the chat.
Okay.
I think we've beaten this dead horse.
Well, the only other thing I would say is I'm sorry, but one more thing before we get into the chat is, and I see people talking about it, test yourself with a CGM.
Yes.
To see what is unique to you, because something that came to my mind is you'll notice that tomatoes are on this list because tomatoes are a fruit,
So
right?
are avocados, so are olives.
I put olives in there.
So are jalapenos.
Jalapeno peppers. I put those in there as well because we can overassume that fruit when we make jalapeno peppers, right? Or stuffed ones. So I am allergic to tomatoes. Fun fact about Rachel.
But you still eat them.
I still eat them. However, Joe can eat the same amount of tomatoes that I eat, but the response on my CGM is much more significant than his. Why? Because not only are we dealing with what it's doing in your body normally, you're also dealing with my allergic reaction to it. So that's an issue. So tomato doesn't register in a CGM in Rachel like it does in Joe. The only way that you're going to know how you interact with a particular food is for you to test it yourself.
Okay, let's get into the chat here.
Yes.
So I saw a couple things. John said, if I eat too many berries, I have increased hunger and foraging for several days.
There you go.
Because again, that's what it's designed to do. Angie said, cantaloupe triggered me to hunt for something to eat, the whole, and I wanted, but I don't know what I want.
My
Because
mom's allergic
just-
to cantaloupe.
You're just triggering, it's just triggering you to go. Andy said, when dieting, fruit was always my treat, so I really do miss it. Plus canned fruit when I was sick with a tummy ache. Yeah, I mean, believe me, I loved canned fruit.
But that's associated with care for you. Canned fruit specifically is probably something that even if you're like, I'm going to have fruit in my life.
And it's all loaded with sugar.
But I'm saying for her, if it was perfect, I would say avoid canned fruit. Why? Because you associate canned fruit with like your parents helping you to get well, loving you, care, concern, right?
Lynette said, I love fruit. It simply does not love me back. But you know what does? Good old-fashioned
I love
meat.
it.
And I say that as I put short ribs in the oven for 3 hours. Yummy
Nice.
dinner. John said, I buy frozen, but only eat 10 or less at a time with yogurt or a keto chow creamy. And again, I have no problem with frozen either if you bought it locally grown when it was in season, because you're just preserving it yourself. The biggest thing that I have a problem with in general is when we're pulling it in from other countries.
Yes.
Especially because we don't know their growing practices and everything else. Fun fact about frozen fruit and vegetables, I grew up that you only ever ate fresh.
But the
If you're
flash
buying
frozen
stuff like in a grocery store, like let's say you go to Whole Foods, and my recommendation, if you want vegetables like broccoli, peas, carrots, things like that, not so much carrots, but you know what I'm talking about. Go to Whole Foods. It's not expensive. You want to buy the 365 version because they're all organic. It's just as cheap as buying Bird's Eye in the grocery store. But the thing about frozen is it's flash frozen. So as soon as you pick a piece of fruit or a vegetable off of the bush or out of the ground, it immediately begins to lose whatever nutrients it does have. And like we said, we already don't have nearly the nutrients that we used to have in our fruits and vegetables. So you want to preserve as much as possible if you are trying to get nutrients from that. Frozen, as soon as they pick it, they go and flash freeze it.
Right.
So whereas if you buy fresh, they could pick it, it could be a week before it ends up in your grocery store. And then by the time you eat it, it's completely nutrient depleted.
Well, it's also important to not just for I don't know what the practices of that country is, but am I getting what I pay for? If you buy something like organic food, like vegetables or fruit, you're going to pay a premium price for that. Well, find out what country is that fruit coming from, because their organic practices may not be like what you're counting on. So you're paying for a certain level and standard, and you're not getting that.
So when we were on the cruise, I had thought about having a couple pieces of fruit.
Yeah.
Because you know what I really miss?
What did you miss?
Cantaloupe.
My mom, we try not to eat anything like that around my mom. I mean, for years, even before keto, because she's allergic to it. And she loved it. So, and it actually would break out her entire mouth.
Now, there is a solution if you want flavors.
Food that has a flavor of fruit. And I actually set aside, Chow has done that with different flavors, right? So I'm not making a lot of pina coladas over here because, hello, but I can have it.
Makes really good
with
coconut
keto chow.
shrimp.
Oranges, peaches, if you are so inclined.
They don't
peaches.
have that anymore.
Raspberry cheesecake. If you're like, hey, I want raspberry flavor. They have natural strawberry. They have regular strawberry. They have strawberry cream.
So if you're curious, the natural strawberry and the regular strawberry, the difference is natural strawberry is flavored with monk fruit, or sweetened with monk fruit.
Orange mango. We actually ripped out our mango tree because we knew we couldn't be trusted with it. But I can still have orange mango. Key lime. Joe makes a fantastic key lime pie, but with that. Then there's regular strawberry, guava grapefruit, lemon meringue, and but there is a new one today. Dun 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 dun! Keto Chow came out with cantaloupe, a cantaloupe flavor. What do you think about that, sir?
I don't know.
You don't know. We haven't tried it yet.
I don't know because, like I said, I really was craving cantaloupe on the cruise. I don't know how cantaloupe is going to
be like a milkshake kind of thing.
I don't know how it's going to. I don't know if.
I feel like it will ice cream, like a sorbet.
Maybe as a sorbet.
But so my advice is, if you utilize something like this where I can get the flavor without having to interact with things I struggle with, that may be a way that you handle it. That may be a way you deal with it.
There is a benefit to that too. Especially if you take fruit and you put it into a creamy ice cream or something like that.
Right.
Consuming the fat with a little bit of natural carbs can actually help to mitigate, not eliminate, but mitigate some of that glucose spike.
Right.
Okay, and there's a lot of studies that show how if you have that little bit of fat and protein, where just eating plain old sugar, skyrocket, but when you mix it with a little bit of carbohydrate, mix it with a little bit of fat and protein, it helps to mitigate it. But again, you have to do it the right way. You have to do it strategically.
So I'm with Tony. Tony's like, Cantaloupe keto chow. I can't imagine it. Honestly, I can't picture it either, but we did mix up some to try it, to just give it a shot because it got released today. I feel like I need to shake it. I'm a little nervous.
By the way,
about
it's
this.
not this color.
No, this is the color of our
it's,
jar.
It's actually clear.
Does it smell like a cantaloupe? It does. It does smell like cantaloupe.
Put some in there. No, I am not eating pineapple.
Okay, there you go. So there's the color of it, which
Yeah.
is basically no
I
color.
like the fact that they're not putting coloring in a lot of them anymore.
Yeah, me too. Because for some people, they're very impassioned about it.
Think.
Dink.
I don't know about this. Wow, it actually does have a cantaloupe taste.
It tastes exactly like cantaloupe, but a milkshake.
That's weird.
Accurate.
That's accurate.
That is accurate. That is accurate.
I like it.
It is very good. It's got a nice sweetness to it, and it absolutely is messing with me a little bit because
That's the way I would eat it.
Because I chew cantaloupe. Cantaloupe is not something that I ever juiced like watermelon. Cantaloupe is something that I ate. So it is odd to not chew cantaloupe.
When I saw this flavor coming out, my initial thing was like a sorbet.
Okay.
So I figured like
I feel like it's gonna ice cream.
this is just 4 tablespoons.
And it is
no, actually, I'm
summertime.
sorry. I used heavy cream with this because we had no sticks of butter. We only had that really good
like
Amish butter.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to use that. So
Dang.
this is 4 ounces of heavy cream with 14 ounces of water in a keto chow.
Okay.
That's what this says.
Okay. I like it as this. I like it as the ice cream.
It's very creamy.
That's very creamy. It has that. It's got like that sorbet type of taste. I like that. That feels very like summer.
That has more flavor.
Because you use heavy whipping cream.
I used heavy whipping cream for this too.
Butter every single time. I know Trish is like, no butter in the house. The horror. We've got butter.
We have butter,
but it's like
we
in
have,
this.
We have tubs.
So it's like hard to decide like how much is it.
Like butter that was like $10 a pound.
Yes, we do have we do have a key lime pie recipe.
Yeah,
I should link it.
So again, the thing is that we get a lot of people who ask us about fruit.
That is good.
And I'm not opposed to certain kinds of fruit, but I do think that you need to be careful with fruit. And I do think that there are certain fruits you should even consider on keto. If you're trying to lose weight,
very interesting.
All fruit should pretty much be off limits.
I want to go back to
because when the fruit is going to cause a blood glucose increase, and you want to keep your carbs as low as possible. But the couple of fruits off the top of my head that I would say you should not really be consuming
the flavor of this more
on keto would be watermelon and pineapple. And also mango. As much as I love mango.
No. Go back to the chart.
I'm just telling about what they do. Like, you can't just go by the carbs. You have to go by the sugar content of them.
Can we take just a look at dates? Because that is what...
I don't eat dates.
I understand you don't. But a lot of people will point, like, hashtag health with dates. I'm not the only one that's heard this. Look at how many, in one of those medjool, like, dates, look at that. 75 total carbs in 100 grams.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Oh, and raisins.
Raisins. How many times I don't even think 100 grams is one of those little Sun-Maid with a lady on the box, those little things that your parents would give you and put in your lunch box because it was like going to make you go to the bathroom. I don't think there's 100 grams in that.
Well, it's like when I was on the low-carb cruise, I was looking for the cranberries because sometimes they'll have dried cranberries. And I could only find the raisins, and I knew what raisins were.
For someone who's not
and
sure
then you
about
look at things like cotton candy.
I really am enjoying this. For someone who's like, I don't know if this works, but like, it's delicious. The problem with this is I like the butter more. I like it when it has butter instead of the cream. I just do.
Want to give some away?
Let's give some away. You want to try it? Let's see. How many you want to give away?
3 winners of 3.
3 winners.
I have another one over there.
3 people getting 3 packages of cantaloupe. And you got to do something creative with at least one of them. Like make a, because we haven't even tried to make like a mug cake with it or cupcake or anything like that.
I couldn't think of anything.
I mean, or like a pie or something.
Give us some ideas.
Yeah, let us know. What would you do with this?
Okay, so what you'll do is as soon as we end this live stream, just go to the comment section, not in the chat. It's got to be in the comment section.
Comment section.
And just leave any comment you want. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I am going to check. And when are we going to draw the winner?
You want to do it Thursday?
That's tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh, this week is going fast. How about we do it on Monday's Keto Be on the Couch?
Because I never remember to do it in the middle of a live. We'll do it on the end of the day on Monday. We'll give them to the end of the day
on Monday, and I'll write it down.
And put it in the calendar.
End of the day, Monday. How do you spell cantaloupe? I really don't.
I don't know.
Cantaloupe. Well, it looks like we got to get married, Joe, because we can't elope. Well, I guess that's the same thing. We have to have a big wedding. Oh, that's what we could tell. That's what we could tell Anthony and Sarah. Anthony and Sarah, you guys have to have a big wedding because you can't elope. We want to be a part of it.
Nice.
See what I did there?
So we got a new keto crate over here. Are you guys interested in me trying to get Anthony to unbox it?
Yes.
He tried to get Sarah to do it, and she said no.
No way. She's super shy and cute.
We only have 4 more months with them.
Okay, I'm gonna be fine. Excited.
We're excited.
Yes.
If you didn't know, if you're new to our channel, our middle son Anthony is getting married on November 1st.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen so quickly. So we're excited.
November 1st. We're so excited.
So anyway, don't talk about our children. If you'd like to win some Keto Chow, make sure you leave a comment down below after this live stream is over. And it's just about over because I am going to be hopping on with Indigo Neely. Don't miss that today.
Well,
live at 1 p.m.
We got about 5 minutes to do some
But I
more
might
chat.
have to go to the bathroom before we start the next live
1
stream.
o'clock.
What time is it? It's 12:45.
It doesn't take you 22 minutes to go
It
pee.
might.
Okay.
It might.
I saw somebody, I think it was Kathy, said that she went to order 4 packets and they're charging $5 for shipping. Yeah, they used to do free shipping, and unfortunately people were taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
And I actually said, like, stop doing that, because, I mean, it costs them more money to ship it. People were paying $5 for one and then getting free shipping, and it's costing them $4 to ship it. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's under. There is a free shipping, but you have to spend a certain amount of money. But again, all you gotta do is go enter to win, and you could possibly win this. Andy said more than 3 grape tomatoes spikes my blood sugar more than 30 points.
See, so for you, tomatoes, like you may decide I'm only going to have, tomatoes in very, very limited circumstances, but you got to think about that. So what is tomatoes in? That may be something that you have to consider if you have tomato sauce, even if you do a sugar-free tomato ketchup, if you have certain seasonings that have, like, if you do tomato basil keto chow, like, you have to check you, because you may have a big impact that other people don't have. And it could be perfectly keto for Joe and not perfectly keto for Rachel.
Becky said 2 things I have no cutoff point for: watermelon and popcorn. This has been the case even after bariatric surgery, both or none of us. Oh, me too. Like, there have been times when I'm like, maybe I'll have a little bit of popcorn. That's why I don't go to the movies, because I would go to the movies, get that big tub with 3 refills, and go through 2 of them.
Watermelon.
And so, like, even the smell of the popcorn, and it's funny, only in a movie theater. I can the kids can make it in the house. We can go to Disney World. It's only at a movie theater where I'm like, I really want popcorn, so I won't even allow myself to have 2 pieces of it.
I am not often proud of myself, but watermelon, Becky, is my thing as well. As Joe said, I would drink an entire watermelon. So I'm very proud of myself that I have put watermelon in this does not belong to me category, because I know I'm going to overindulge. And I have actually gotten to the point where I can cut up a watermelon for other people, feed a watermelon to Peyton, and not partake of watermelon. I feel like that is a huge victory for me. And it's really just watermelon. I've never gone like nuts on grapes or raisins. I know everybody has their different thing. So like that was never a concern. I'm not like patting myself on the back that like a grape is safe around me, because I just really never had a problem with that. But watermelon was a thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Robin said Carnival Cruise used to have cantaloupe ice cream. So good. I bet Keto Chow cantaloupe ice cream would be yummy.
It needs the butter. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
it
would
needs
be
the butter
more
because
flavorful.
this is more tastier,
Heavy cream.
and I want to
Well,
freeze
yeah,
this and eat
but
it.
that's made with heavy cream.
You made this with heavy cream?
I don't have any sticks of butter. It's all heavy cream.
But this tastes
when you freeze it, it does dull the flavor
because it
a
doesn't
little bit.
taste.
Now, one way to
this does not
overcome
taste dull.
losing the flavor when you freeze it is to add some sweetener. And I would only add allulose, which will also help with the freezing where it won't be as icy. So I saw.
I have to try this with butter now.
Yeah,
because
I saw
it tastes
that.
this good.
Trish said, "How would one make sorbet with keto chow in the creamy?" I gotta mess with it a little bit, but you would use a little bit more water because sorbet is almost like a cross between ice cream and like an Italian ice kind of thing. And I would add a bunch of allulose to it, which would help the flavor. And allulose has so many benefits. The more more the research is happening, the better.
I hate ice. I'm the only one that's like, I want the ice. I know I'm a total weirdo.
Something else that would be good with that is make it into a parfait. Mix this
Ain't
with
nobody
yogurt.
don't like parfait.
Mix it with yogurt. So take like a few spoonfuls and mix it with yogurt, and that would make a really good cantaloupe parfait. Let's see. Anything else before we get off?
Brain freeze.
Kathy said, "Oh, I spoke with that one already." Oh, John said you need $100 of keto chow for the free shipping now. Yeah, I mean shipping's just gotten so expensive.
Crazy.
I just actually
I sent somebody
put together
a present.
package for
And the shipping
one
was more
of
than
the
the present.
contestants from RV Unplugged for some salty. I sent him some salty for our stash, and I was like, "Really? This is like $5 for a few sticks of salty?" Yeah.
Carolyn's got it. Icicle pops.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That'd be really good. We actually have you remember the old flavor ice? We've done electrolyte popsicles using those. You can buy a set from Amazon, like super cheap, and it comes with the little funnel. You need to leave a link for that. With a little funnel, and you just pour either your electrolytes or you can pour the keto chow into it, and it like seals. And now you have push-up pops that you could take with you, on a trip or give to the grandkids and stuff. And it looks exactly like flavor ice, but it's got good stuff in it.
Okay, two more before we get off. Trish said, going to the movies and smelling popcorn makes me feel deprived, so I just don't go there.
That's smart.
That's pretty much me. John said, makes me wonder if it was the pasta sauce or the pasta that causes my 200 plus glucose level. Probably both. Doesn't matter. I don't eat either anymore. Yeah, so pasta sauce, especially if you're just buying whatever, pasta sauce has a lot of sugar, not just from the tomatoes, but they add sugar to it.
Yeah.
And so pasta sauce in itself can be like ridiculous in the carbs. Because again, whenever you take things like a fruit, tomatoes, oranges, strawberries, and you turn it into a sauce or a juice, you're taking a lot of it and putting it into just a little bit. And even with pasta sauce, if you've ever made your own spaghetti sauce at home, you're, again, taking out all of the pulp, all of the fiber, and you're just left with the juice, which is where all the sugar is.
So a final thought to that, because sometimes we consider ourselves deprived. That's a very bad place to live. Is that feeling of deprivation? Because what it causes you to I'm going to bust out of this problem, and I'm going to go wild for a little bit. That's where sometimes people just go off the wagon. Okay. Sometimes we think to ourselves, I don't get any fruit. No one allows me fruit. I never have fruit.
I thought you had to pee.
I do. But here's the thing. We're sort of kind of lying to ourselves about that. Because if you eat anything with tomato, you're having fruit. If you eat zucchini, like you make zoodles, that is a fruit. If you're eating olives, that is a fruit.
I'm going to give you a little
teaser.
Jalapeno
peppers, fruit.
I'm going to give you a little teaser for
Pumpkin.
Jonathan tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you think that you completely don't eat carbs, even if you're a carnivore, it's just not true.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
We love you.